Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you very much for joining us today in this webinar about the United Nations Global Compact. It's an introduction about our initiative for business around the world. This webinar will be helpful for businesses who are considering joining the Global Compact and want to get more information about this initiative, or for current participants who want to get some more insights and more information about all that is involved in the initiative. Before starting, a couple housekeeping items. First of all, everyone on the line will be on mute. If you speak, I will not be able to listen to you. You are on mute, but we welcome all questions at any time. So please type your questions in the little box that you will see, that you should be seeing in your screen. It's a chat box or a questions box. Please make sure to type your questions there at any time. My name is Ana Blanco. I'm a co-manager in the reporting team in the Global Compact. I'm here today with my colleague Sarah Boswick, the other co-manager in the reporting team. I will be giving the presentations and Sarah will be taking the questions today. The webinar is going to take about 50 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the questions that we have today. No longer than an hour will last this webinar. At the end of the webinar, sometime during the day, you will be receiving both the presentation that we are going to see today, as well as the recording and the video of the webinar for you to view and listen again, or to distribute in your company if necessary. Okay, so let's get started. There's the General Assembly where the Global Compact was created. Our presentation today has 4 main parts. We're going to start with some general aspects of the Compact. Then we're going to explore what exactly it means to join the Global Compact. We're going to talk about the issue areas that are worked on in the Global Compact, and we're going to have some conclusions. So let's start with the general aspects of the initiative. It was launched in the year 2000 in the General Assembly of the United Nations as a multi-stakeholder platform for collective action. It is an initiative where, of course, business take the central role. It is an initiative to promote corporate social responsibility worldwide, but it's also a platform where other actors such as civil society, government, UN agencies participate as well, with the core of our work being with corporations and businesses around the world. The initiative is rooted in universally accepted conventions, so our principles, everything that we do, rotates around conventions accepted and approved in the United Nations by the General Assembly. The whole idea behind the Global Compact, our vision, is to promote a more sustainable and inclusive global economy. The backbone of the Global Compact is our 10 principles. We have, these are the 10 principles. They have been categorized in 4 different issue areas. These are human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. Each one of these principles, as I mentioned before, is rooted in a convention, an international convention or an international tool that has been approved in the United Nations. And this is the backbone of the initiative. All the work we do revolves around these 4 issue areas. There are 2 complementary objectives here in the Global Compact. One of them is to help companies to internalize the 10 principles into their operations and strategies. So it's that inward-looking component of the Global Compact, help companies to incorporate the principles. And the second objective in our initiative is to contribute to development through the promotion of corporate social responsibility. We operate globally through local networks. We call them local networks. We have presence in 101 countries right now. You see in this map, the colored areas are the ones where we have presence. We have formal networks, meaning they have a formal and officially established governance body, and they have also signed an MOU with the Global Compact, the office in New York. Established networks are networks that do have a governance body, and they are in process of signing up and finalizing an MOU. And we have emerging networks, which are those that they have some operations, they have started conversations with us around their MOU, but there's no formal governance body and there's no MOU signed yet. Local networks are a great resource wherever you are located in the world to ask questions about the initiative, to learn more about what we can offer. They are totally capable and on top of the topics that we deal with, so they are always a good resource for you if your company has questions and if you want to engage further. So we strongly encourage you to reach out to your local network. If you happen to be in a country where there's not a local network, please contact us and we can put you in touch with the local network that could assist you. This slide shows the distribution of our current participants, our current corporate participants. These are businesses that are signatories in the Global Compact. We have around 7,000 businesses in 130 countries. In addition to those 7,000 businesses, we have around 3,500 non-business participants. Their participation is different than the business participation, but they are also part of our initiative. And within the business participation, we count with almost 200 out of the 500 companies in the FT Global. So we do have presence of the largest companies in the world. As you can see in the chart, our strongest presence is in Europe, followed by Latin America and Asia. They have similar presence. And then we have Northern America as a different category because it's a big also market where participation is pretty high. And then we have MENA and Africa. Europe, as you can see here, is pretty high in the representation in our participant base, and a lot of our work is done in Europe. However, since the other markets are the ones where we could increase our presence, there is a lot of effort from our part placed in these regions as well. The green colors that you see here represent SMEs, small and medium enterprises, as opposed to larger companies. As you can see, across the board is about half of our participation is from SMEs and half from large companies. This slide is showing what the Global Compact is not. Sometimes people who are outside of the compact and they don't understand very well what this is about can get into some confusions. We are not a regulatory authority. We don't have the mandate to be a regulatory body. Sometimes companies also get worried, and what if I join the Global Compact and I don't follow through the commitment thoroughly? Am I going to be punished? And that's not the case. We don't have the mandate to punish companies who don't follow the sustainability journey that we would like. We are not a substitute for regulation at the national or international level. We are not a UN, a United Nations seal of approval. It's not that upon joining the Global Compact, the company will be able to use our logo as a seal of approval by the UN. That's not what we are. And we are not a public relations exercise. We're going to see what we are in the next few slides. So why do companies join the Global Compact? It's always a question that we get. Why to join? Why do companies go through the whole process and effort of joining? Every year we conduct a survey among participants in the Global Compact. Last year, for 2012, we collected over 1,700 responses, and these are the reasons that companies gave us for joining the Global Compact. So the top reason, 80% of participants in the survey said that they joined the Global Compact because they think by joining they can increase trust in the company by their stakeholders and other actors. So that's the first reason they gave. And then in the next three places, very closely followed one by the other, it's to acquire knowledge to advance sustainability. Then, because of the universal nature of the principles, they saw that this is not a local or regional biased initiative, but it's an initiative that has the backing of the United Nations, the whole General Assembly behind it, and we are based on universally accepted principles. So that's a reason companies gave us to joining. And they also said promoting action on sustainability within the company is another reason that moved them to join the initiative. Here are a lot of other reasons they found to join the Global Compact. You will be able to see these reasons in detail when you receive the presentation. But those are the top 4 reasons why companies join our initiative. Now, a reminder here before moving on to the second section of our presentation. Please, any question you might want to ask, type it down at any moment. We will be happy to address your questions. Now, moving on to the second section of the presentation, what is the implication of joining the Global Compact? What is joining the Global Compact? What does it mean to your company? Why to join the Global Compact? So in these slides, there's a list of implications of implications of joining the Global Compact. The first 3, they are bolded because without these 3 issues, there is no way a company can join the Global Compact. So to join our initiative, there must be a commitment from the company, specifically at the CEO and the board levels. It has to be a commitment from the top. It is an online application, and it's done through a letter addressed directly to the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. So that's the procedure to get started in joining the Global Compact. And lastly, there is a reporting component, the commitment when upon joining the Global Compact, companies commit to report annually to their stakeholders. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the next slide. And then we have other expectations when companies commit to the initiative. We expect to see willingness to engage in continuous performance improvement, of course, into incorporating sustainability topics in their operations and strategies. And lastly, we expect that the company participates in events and that they actively engage with the different programs within our initiative. So again, upon joining the Global Compact, it has to be done through a commitment from the top level of the company, it has to be an application sent online through a letter to the Secretary General, and there is a reporting component. That is the bare minimum to join the compact. So let's talk about this reporting component, which is always something that that companies ask about, and it's of course an important. Oh, I'm sorry. Before the reporting, we're going to see in this slide how companies can start their journey to sustainability. Many times companies tell us, yes, it's great, we are on board with sustainability, we want to incorporate it in our operations, but we don't know how to do it. And in some other cases, companies say, yes, I'm more advanced in the journey. I have started the sustainability journey, but I would like some guidance into how to do it. So the Global Compact, companies, once they join the Global Compact, have access to this great resource. We call it the management model. It is a publication. You will be able to, when you receive the presentation, you can click on this slide and it will take you directly to the publication. What it basically does, this publication, is it takes the company through the journey of sustainability. It doesn't matter what stage your company is, the management model can add value by showing what is the next step that you should take, regardless of where your company is now. It's a 6-step model. It starts with a commitment, then it explains how to assess risks and opportunity. It goes on to define what are the goals, what should be the strategies and the policies that the company should be considering. Then it explains how to implement those strategies that were defined before. Then it explains how to measure, how to monitor results in order for the company to evaluate if their efforts have been on track, if there's the need to modify. And lastly, the management model indicates that communication and being transparent about your efforts and about your company's progress is a good way of incorporating sustainability and promoting it, not only internally but also communicating with your stakeholders about the company's sustainability journey. The publication gives you a definition of each one of these steps. It explains how to take action, how the company can get started, and then it also has some examples. It shows how what good practices have been implemented in each one of these steps. So this is a great tool for a company to be able to, again, incorporate sustainability and be able to advance in the sustainability journey. So before moving on, Sarah, do we have any questions so far?
Anna, we have one question, and it is, when will the presentation be forwarded to the audience? And it will be sent out later on today. If you have any other questions, please type them in the question box on the right-hand side of your dashboard.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, basically after we are done with the webinar, we have to download the recording. It's a process that can take a couple hours, and then after the recording is downloaded, we will send it immediately to all of you, recording and presentation. Okay, the communication requirement in the Global Compact. As we mentioned before, the commitment, once a company commits to the Global Compact and they join the initiative, they agree that one of the requirements is to communicate annually, every year, with your stakeholders on the progress that the company has made in its sustainability efforts for the previous year. This slide shows us the requirements. I'm going to explain very briefly the reporting requirement, but if any of you has very detailed questions or if you have further questions on reporting, I strongly encourage you to join our webinar tomorrow. It's the second part of this webinar series. Tomorrow we are going to focus only on the reporting component. We're going to talk about all the details, the ins and outs, and we're going to explain to you step by step how to report according to our policy in the Global Compact. So if you haven't registered now, I strongly encourage you. It's a webinar just like this one, and you will see all the details. For now, let's just understand the basics of our reporting requirement. We call it a communication on progress because it's you are disclosing to stakeholders the progress that you have made, that your company has made in its sustainability path. It's an annual requirement. Every year your company has to submit a report. The report doesn't have to be a separate report. If your company already has a sustainability report or an annual report, the information that we require can be incorporated in that report, and you can upload that annual report or that sustainability report in our website. It has to be uploaded in our website because that's where your stakeholders are going to look for the information. Our requirement is ruled by our communication on progress policy. Again, when you receive this presentation, you will be able to click here and it will direct you straight to the policy. Our reporting component has 3 requirements. Your report must have a statement of continued support by the CEO. So every year, your CEO must say, I continue to support the Global Compact. Our company, with the backing of the CEO, continues to engage with sustainability and with the Global Compact. Second, the report must contain a description of actions in each one of the issue areas. As we said before, there are 4 main issue areas in the Global Compact. So your report must include a description of actions. And lastly, the report must have a measurement of outcomes. Again, for more details, please join us tomorrow in the webinar about reporting. We have a differentiation program. This program didn't exist from the very beginning. This is something that was created actually in 2010. Around 2010, we started to classify the COPs that were submitted. The idea behind this program is to give recognition to those companies who create reports that meet best practices. So we have basically 3 levels in our differentiation program. We have, let me start with the GC Active level. It's a COP that meets the minimum requirements, which are the 3 that we discussed in the previous slide. So if your COP covers the 3 minimum requirements, that COP is going to be in the GC Active level. Then we have the GC Advanced level. It's a COP that meets not only the 3 minimum requirements that we discussed before, but it also complies with advanced criteria. We have a list of advanced criteria and best practices, and COPs that meet those criteria will be GC Advanced. Here, when you click on here, this document will direct you to the list of advanced criteria. And tomorrow we will be discussing in detail the advanced level. And lastly, a COP that is submitted on a timely manner, but it does not meet the 3 minimum requirements, is placed in the learner platform down here. So that's our differentiation program where COPs are placed. That's why sometimes you hear us saying it's an advanced COP, it's a GC Active COP. This is what we're talking about. Depends on the level of transparency and disclosure in the report. Okay, any further questions so far, Sarah? Great. So let's move on to the third part of our presentation today. We're going to talk about the issue areas. As I mentioned before, our 10 principles are classified in 4 main issue areas. So those 4 issue areas are where we place most of our attention. We have other areas where we also work. So here we're going to show you what is the issue area, who informs that issue area, what publications, and what are the resources for your company to engage further with the issue area. So let's start with the 4 main issue areas. The first one is human rights. We have a working group on human rights. It's a group of experts with a couple companies participating in the group, but mainly experts. We have a lot of publications on human rights. Here we are highlighting a few of the ones that are available. The first document here contains a list of all the resources on human rights that are available through our platform. So you can click here when you receive this document, and you will be able to see what exactly is available in each one of the different topics of human rights. There are a few different ways to engage in the human rights area. One is to participate in the learning tool. It's an online tool. You see here, and you can click there and it will take you there as well. It's a great tool for learning about human rights and also to know where your company is in the topic of human rights. It's almost like an online course. So you read some materials which are easy and not long at all, and then you have a series of questions, like a quiz almost, and it can explain to you where you are and teach you new things. Secondly, we have the Human Rights and Business Dilemmas Forum. It's an online forum where companies log in, they discuss human rights dilemmas that they are experiencing or that they would just like to bring up, and it's a great way of exchanging experiences and ideas on that. Here again, you can click and it will take you to the page. The page explains in great detail how to participate and what the forum is all about. Our second issue area is labor standards. It's informed by a working group on labor standards. The working group is a group of experts as well, with some people from organizations such as the ILO. The main publication is the Labor Principles of the UN Global Compact. And lastly, how to engage in labor. It's through the ILO website. There's a help desk where business can call, they can participate, they can email with questions to learn more about labor standards. So our engagement opportunity here is through our partner, the ILO, in labor standards. The third main issue area in our initiative is environment. It's informed by 3 different groups. The CEO Water Mandate is a group of experts, a group of companies, in this case, the Water Mandate. Caring for Climate, again, is a group of companies with other agencies also involved, and by UNEP, another UN agency that is dedicated to environmental issues. Our main publication, again in environment, we have a lot of other publications, but the main one is the Environmental Stewardship Strategy. It basically explains companies how to incorporate environmental topics into their operations, similar to the management model that we discussed above, but this one is very focused on the environmental topic. How to engage, there are a couple possibilities. One is through our low carbon initiative. So it's a resource, it's a publication, but it's also a website where companies can participate, keeping track on carbon emissions, reading about information how to diminish the carbon emissions, how to manage, how to measure. So this resource helps companies in that regard. And secondly, we have our Water Action Hub. It's a relatively new initiative. It has its own website. You can click there. It will take you also to the website. And it's companies coming together, bringing their efforts together to create more momentum into water management and better management of water in different regions of the world. So basically companies can go to the website, see what efforts have been done, let's say in Colombia, what company is carrying out efforts in that area. And if my company is also interested in that, I can click on the hub in Colombia, go to the Action Hub and get in touch with the people and try to catalyze the results by joining efforts. That's basically the idea behind the hub. Our last main issue area is anti-corruption. It is informed by a working group on anti-corruption. It's again a group of experts. We have two main publications highlighted here. This is the 10th principle against anti-corruption. This publication is specifically about reporting. How can a company report on anti-corruption practices? What is the best way for the company to report, to engage, to disclose, to be transparent, always taking into account risks that the company might have. So it's an important tool. We also have a publication on corruption in the supply chain. There are two different ways to engage in this initiative. One is the collective action. It's a program that started initially with 6 countries. So we are already in those 6 countries. Companies in the countries are encouraged to learn more about this. The countries are Brazil, Egypt, India, Nigeria, and South Africa for the time being. The idea is to expand this program and cover different regions as well. And also in anti-corruption, we have a learning tool. It's an online learning tool similar to the human rights learning tool where you can read some documents and then answer questions. It's a learning tool. You can click here and it will take you directly to the site. So aside from the 4 main issue areas, those are the issue areas that cover our 10 principles. Our initiative has expanded with the help of companies, great participants that we have in our initiative that have been champions in topics of sustainability. We have been able to launch different programs in other areas. One of them is the area of business and peace. This program is informed by an expert group on responsible business and investments in high-risk areas. The publication is a guidance on responsible business in conflict-affected and high-risk areas. So it's how basically this publication explains to the company what are the best practices for your company to operate in countries or regions with potential or actual conflict issues. It takes into account the sector of your company is different, being a banking institution, a technology organization, or a mining organization. This publication takes that into account. To engage in the initiative, in our website, again, if you click here, it will take you directly to the presentation. Sorry, it will take you directly to the to the web page, and there are several meetings and workshops, webinars just like this one, taking place around the world, and you're welcome to check if there's anything that will be relevant to you. We have also a program in supply chain. It's informed by the Advisory Group on Supply Chain Sustainability. We have a report on that, and we have also a self-assessment and learning tool. Again, it's an online tool where you answer some questions. After answering the questions, the tool will tell you this is where the company stands at this point on supply chain sustainability, and these are the recommendations for your company. So it's a great tool for anyone interested in assessing their supply chain sustainability. Lastly, we have resources for companies interested in contributing to broader UN objectives. This is done through a partnership program that we promote in the Global Compact. These are the publications that explain how to engage into partnerships. It can be partnerships with United Nations agencies, or partnerships with civil society, or partnerships between companies. And the idea is that through partnerships, through collective actions, it's easier to advance certain topics than if one company goes alone trying to resolve issues. So that's why we provide a platform for companies and organizations to come together and join their efforts. Here you can click and it will take you to the website where these partnerships are managed, where you can find what partnerships are in existence as of now, and if someone wants to start a new partnership, this platform allows the company to do that. Okay, we're about to go to the last part of our presentation. Sarah, do we have any questions so far?
We have one question from a company who would like to know how to go about selecting what to write about in the Communication on Progress, or COP. And Anna, if you return to the slide that shows the COP content requirements, we can see that here there is a list of minimum requirements which give you the basic outline of what should be contained in your COP. Of course, every company is free to choose exactly what details to present and how to present them in their COP, but we do ask that you report on the 4 main issue areas that the Global Compact works on and that the 10 principles address, which are human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. That's your basic outline for content of the COP. And the exact details of what to include would depend on would be different for every single company depending on their area of operation and their business. On the right hand side of your screen, you'll see the image of the cover of our basic guide for Communications on Progress, and this should serve as a resource for you to get started on your COP. Gives you some guidance, some examples, which hopefully would be helpful. And we would recommend for this participant who asked the question and anyone else to attend the webinar that we're having at the same time tomorrow. It will also be an hour long, and it's focused specifically on the Communication on Progress. So we'll go into much greater detail on the COP than we're able to do right now. That's the only question so far, Anna.
Great, thank you, Sarah, and great question. Thank you very much for that. Remember, please type your questions at any time in the little box. So let's see the conclusions. I'm going to try to make a quick summary of what we saw here, only highlighting main points and what we would like you to go to take away from this webinar. Participation in the Global Compact is an opportunity for companies to advance their sustainability journey. As you saw from the responses from companies who are already participants in the Global Compact, they see their participation as an opportunity to increase the trust in the company. They see it as an opportunity to learn more about sustainability, an opportunity to effectively incorporate sustainability topics into their strategies and operations, and they see it as a fit framework for their own companies, regardless of where they are located or what sector they operate in. It's a framework that is flexible enough that can help any type of company to benefit from it. Joining in the Global Compact involves a commitment, is a commitment to incorporate and advance sustainability topics, and also a commitment to disclose progress through the communication on progress. There are tools that we offer to help companies to fulfill these commitments successfully. So this webinar is one of those resources. We hold several of these webinars, not only on reporting topics like is going to happen tomorrow, but each one of the different issue areas periodically conducts webinars for participants. We have live events, we have meetings, we have local networks, publications. So there is a wealth of tools for companies to be able to understand better and to take the most of their participation in the Global Compact. Now, to implement and to effectively incorporate sustainability topics in the company's operations, we strongly encourage you to look at the management model, the publication that we saw before with that little wheel, because that publication, that resource will help your company to most effectively incorporate sustainability topics into your company's operations, and also to communicate and be transparent and disclose transparently on on the progress. Lastly, the reporting component of the Global Compact, it's a very important component. Its importance cannot be stressed enough, because a company who fails constantly to comply with this requirement can eventually be expelled from the initiative. That's something that we work a lot here to not let happen. We work very closely with companies for them to be able to report on time. And it's a great way and an opportunity for your company to communicate with your stakeholders on the progress and all your efforts in sustainability. And lastly, we want to leave you with a question for you to try to understand, and is, what are the benefits of public commitment and accountability on sustainability topics to your own company? The Global Compact is a voluntary initiative where your efforts will become public. Once you join, you will have a public profile in your website. Anyone can go and see what your company is doing in sustainability. So it is a very valid question to ask yourselves, what is the benefit of this for my company, and what is the opportunity in this for us? So before saying goodbye, I want to double check with Sarah. Any further questions before we leave?
Yes, Anna. The question is, if your first COP happens to fall into the GC learner level, does it have any negative effect on the Global Compact participant? This is an excellent question. Remember that the communication on progress, as its title implies, is all about progress, and that's really the spirit of this requirement. So it would be counterproductive to that objective for us to penalize a company that that submits a GC Learner COP, but then is trying to progress and report more extensively, more thoroughly, and with better quality in future years. In other words, if you submit your first COP at the GC Learner level, your COP will be labeled as such on your public profile, which is available on the internet to anyone. Just like every COP is, the level is available publicly. But it doesn't have any further negative effect on the participant. Our expectation is that the next year, when you submit your next COP, you will progress and improve, and you'll be able to fulfill all of the minimum requirements of the COP, which will make it a GC active COP the next year. If you were to submit another GC Learner COP after that first one, then the company would be labeled non-communicating as an effort to encourage companies to make that progress. So initially, during that first year, there is no negative effect on the Global Compact participant. There's a question about registering for tomorrow's webinar. Every registrant needs to register him or herself via the system, and we will send out a link in the follow-up email to this webinar, which will contain the presentation and the recording, so that you can register yourself. And finally, there's a question on the timelines for submitting the COP and how does the COP deadline work. We will go over this in more detail tomorrow again, but the short answer to that question is that a company is required to submit its first COP 1 year from the date that it joins the Global Compact. So if you join on October 15th, 2013, your first COP will be due October 15th, 2014. And it is possible to get an extension of the deadline using what we call a grace letter or an adjustment request to adjust the COP deadline so that it coincides with the company's internal reporting cycle. That information is available on our website, exactly how to do that, under the Communication on Progress section, and we will also go over that in detail in tomorrow's webinar. Those are all of the questions at this time, Anna. Back to you.
Excellent questions. Thank you very much. And yes, it seems there are some further questions on COP, so tomorrow's webinar is going to be all about that. So we strongly encourage you to register. And again, tomorrow is going to work the same way. If you register, you will receive the materials, the recording of the webinar and the presentation after the presentation is over. So it's important for you to register also so you can get the materials. Thank you very much for joining us today, and you have here our contact information. My name again is Ana Blanco. Sarah Boswick was with me on the questions. Feel free to contact us, and thank you very much for your time and for your participation in our initiative. Bye-bye.